This is unbelievably scary for me because I'm watching the score, avidly reading the teacher's indications. I listen to you play, and then all of a sudden I turn to you and I see a child. To you it's not a surprise, but to me, this inadequation between what you play with culture of sound, with tone, with attentive volume of dynamics, with pedaling, phrasing, direction of line, transitioning ritenutos. Well, we'll discuss about that. But in general, a seasoned pianist. So what will you do later?
Eat lunch.
That's a very good analogy for the rest of the seasons of your life. You will play probably Scarbo. How old are you now?
11.
11. So by 13 Scarbo, by 15 left-hand concerto, by 17 who knows what. It's amazing. Do you enjoy practicing or do you prefer playing?
I prefer playing, but practicing is also really fun.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you say that again? Practicing is really fun. 11-year-old. I wish I had your beautiful interaction with practicing when I was your age, because I only liked to play, didn't like practicing. But I also observed that you have a very fine teacher, because those indications are like amazing. Who is your teacher?
Nina Polonsky.
Well, you'll congratulate this person for me. How long did it take you to learn judo? Not pronouncing it, but playing it. Or both?
Like
2 nights, 2 days, 3 days?
2 months.
2 months.
Yeah.
And have you heard it before? Or was it somebody else playing it that you heard it by? Or you discovered it with the score?
I discovered it because someone was playing it and I really liked it.
And someone is YouTube in person,
YouTube.
your teacher?
YouTube.
Aha. You see, the responsibility of the performers is so big because they can influence you to want to play a piece, or they can very well discourage you
Yeah.
from playing that piece, going, God, this thing is boring. Did you get amused, all of you, yesterday when I looked at all of you and I took the repeats in the first movements? Because I could hear in your heads going, oh no, he's taking the repeat. But it is true that in general, we are all trying to serve the music, but the music has its own life besides us. So people played it before you and people will play it after you. What is the difference is that when you played, I heard your fingers move, I saw your ears listen. Do you do this because you hear better when you have your head over the keyboard as a shower top? It's like, and I feel like you're absorbing the sounds directly. Or is it not?
It's not really.
So tell us something very honestly. Do you play with the fingertips or do you play with the ears hearing the fingertips?
Technically, I play with the fingertips, but also technically, I play with the ears because if I don't have ears, then I can't hear what my fingertips are playing. So then,
But if you played on the cover, you hear it in your head, no?
yeah. I
And,
do hear.
and so what difference does it make on which piano you played? Does it come out differently? Or you played with, in other words, when you just played it now on this Fazioli, did it come out the way you expected or did it come out differently from what you're used to play on?
It came out better. Came out better than what I used to play on.
So what is the better? More resonance or?
It just did everything that I wanted the piano to do.
And what is it that you want the piano to do in the opening of this piece?
Soft, but then there's like sparkling in the softness.
Sparkling in the softness. You are so amazingly eloquent with your fingers as well as with your mouth. In fact, I find that this piece is well suited for you today because you can handle its length and its scope. You know what scope means?
Yeah.
What do you
It
think?
means like what's in the music, like
Yeah.
how
The-
hard it is.
Imagine it as an architecture, like a building, or a tree, or a fountain. You play it from the beginning to the end, and you give it some kind of a storytelling meaning. What is your favorite section in the piece?
The last section.
And what is your most dreaded section in the piece?
The fast section.
Yeah, I'll tell him. Man, fix that. What about the ending? What do you like in it the most? Is this seconds?
No. It's the part where they.
Isn't it the truth that no words explain the piece? You said, because I love that section, and then you played it because if not, the music is not to represent our words about it. It's its own language, right?
Yeah.
It's like a place, a perfume, a country, a hug, person, garden, sunset, sunrise, someplace
Yeah.
where it's so nice. I call that escapism. You escape somewhere in a daydream. But I was wondering about the ending marking senza volontare. Do you know what it means in Italian?
It means no slow down, or like no like slow down, or
So why do you think he writes something that in 1937, after he died, he imagined that in 2025 you might do? So in case somebody will want to finish this with tenuto, no. There is something about Ravel to be known to all, that he absolutely hated the concept of interpretation. He considered it a treason against his music. He used to say, one doesn't interpret my music, or translate, that means, one plays my notes. And so, how can you play this last bar without vitenuto and still make it, how you love it? Oh, you're so disappointed.
yeah, I'm so disappointed.
I saw this chin of yours went, I liked it better my way. I think that the answer to the solution is to take off the pedal much earlier after the last chord. Cut. In fact, this happens in the Liszt sonata. Nobody hears a B before the C before the B. In the same way, nobody hears the C sharp passing tone. Everybody hears the B. But there is a passing tone. And so, in fact, you said something very nice about the opening. Sparkle
Yeah.
and soft.
Yeah.
And so that's why you want to hear. And I would say that if you can flicker the pedal, imagine you're nervous. Yes, exactly. Like this. So that you have a residue resonance. Yes, the major problem with the modern piano is that it's not made for this music. It's made for not. And so when Ravel composed it on his Pleyel, French piano in the 1930s, and you finish, he replaces the bass fifth so that we can rehear the fifth that was lost in the holding because it decayed. But in fact, what you should do is replay it silently. Oh my God. I'm not going to play what Ravel said. How does this old, bald, fat guy suggest something against the rules? It's because I adapt to the instrument. The day you will go to Paris, visit his house, and you play this piece on his piano, you'll understand very clearly that this EB has died by the time you arrive here. And you don't hear it anymore, stay. And he didn't have a middle pedal on his French pianos, in which case he would have held it here and just go. Which is why he restrikes it at the end. But on the modern piano, it's way too loud. Because by the time you play this diminuendo, it's a recall, but it's too loud. So what I suggest for you is for you to play it, and at the moment of playing the D sharp chord at the top, you replay the EB silently and you lift the pedal. Like this. Do you know how to play silently? Play 3-1, straight fingers, not bent, on the edge, on the tongue. Yes, exactly. Fast and silent, deep, but without to hear it. But fast. Yes. And then this way, if you had held it, it just resonates. Oh. And if not, you do the beautiful diminuendo. And this thing is, in fact, for Ravel's piano, is a resuscitation of the decaying fifth, and on the modern piano, is too loud.
Yeah.
And so, since we have to play his notes, I choose to avoid replaying it. You like holding this chord. Well, in any case, that's the beauty of the notation, is that no matter how much details we have, there is room for our own point of view. And if you hold it long like this, nobody will say it's bad. Besides, people will applaud anyway, so it'll be okay. I'm being picky about the last note. I would like to ask you to check how to make the flickering pedal also in page 120 here. Yes, you have to make a diminuendo on those 8 C's sharps.
Yeah.
So I would hold the pedal on the first 4, and on the second 4, I would take off the pedal after each. No, you don't do it enough. In other words, make it thinner by disappearing the sound before you play the bass. So in the beginning it resonates over, and then, in other words, words, the diminuendo is the thinning of the texture, like an orchestral effect of harp after some other instrument. Go ahead. This is why I always wonder why composers write grace notes. They measure everything and then they throw in the middle all this. So where do I place it? By the time you play it, it adds a beat. Does it?
Yeah,
Or do you think it shouldn't?
it shouldn't, but it does.
So how can you make the grace note arpeggio fit the group of beats?
Play the next, play the next measure.
Later.
Yeah.
No, because then you still add a beat to this one.
Play it faster.
No, start it earlier. No, right now you do it after. You should start it on this last CGC. In fact, the problem is not yours or mine, it's his. Because he's picky, pickissimo. Every note, it is as he should. And all of a sudden, he says rapidamente. Okay, fine, that's almost together. I think that there's some kind of rhythmicity that comes out from the squeezing. I have this problem with the third movement of the Pathétique yesterday. It's either squeezed, either spread. Or then what I tried to do, which was kind of awkward. But it never fits. Too many notes in little space, right? So if you overlap it, it takes less long on that bar. So far, two of my advices are not to play what's written. I'm entering in troubled waters with the composer for when I'll meet him later. There's another thing which I notice is that probably it's one of your favorite sections too, is this. Usually it's the fun part, no?
No, because you have to glissando and then your hand hurts.
Your hand hurts?
No, but it's just like glissando is like, I just don't like glissando.
Well, tell him. It's all on black keys anyway. So just play. I chickened out, huh? All students wait to hear. Ah, he did the arrangement. And same thing, if you want to do this, you can just do directly the, can you try it with the fingers? That sounds like jazz. Sounds like a jazz lead. It's really 5 notes a hand. Can you play just? Yeah, it's when you cross the hand that you delay. Be earlier there. Touch and play. Play it first that hurts, just to see it. Play it in chords. Tick-a-tock. And then so that's clusters practicing, right? And then you just play arpeggiato. I think it will hurt you much less than this. Do you use the thumb for the glissando? What about the left hand with the nail of the third finger? Isn't it less hurtful?
No, this is less hurtful.
So both hurt.
Wow, one barely hurts and one hurts more.
I find it very interesting when composers write such a beautifully complex textured structure. You have 4 against 3 chromaticisms. You have so many things going on, and combined, it sounds amazingly interlacing each other. It's really beautifully subtle and sophisticated, and all of a sudden it's like enough. What about? No, I think that the glissando is a weakness of the composer. What can I do? In 2 beats. In 3 beats, you play the scale. Now, generally, I was wondering when I watched you play earlier the tremolo just prior to the glissando. Can you play the tremolo? Don't lift the hands above the keys. Replay almost as if you play them together. No, don't play them one after the other. Aim at playing them together. Yeah. Have you tried the fist? I tried to be civilized yesterday. And a young doctor told me, "You didn't use your fists." But I still think that it's very percussive. And it's easier to play if you do that with the knuckles, no? Like this. Play it with your fingers like you did before. Do you have neighbors?
Yeah.
Oh, they must love that section. But it is interesting because it's not so much the glissando and the tremolo combined, it's all this build up to it, right? Can you play for us the build up? Take it from where it's comfortable for you, earlier even. You know what? I think that you enjoy playing that Fazioli. It's very juicy piano, no? Especially because in a smaller hall, it's resonant even more, like, oh my God, I get it all. When you do the ritenuto, page 122, right? Did you notice that he goes from 30 seconds to 16th notes? Of course you did, since you played, right? Don't you think it's enough? That's why I wrote for you rhythmic ritenuto. Can you try to play it strictly in tempo? Yes, but now you can do the dynamics, especially the pianissimo, which you did so well before. Because I noticed that your transition was to prepare the color of the sound of this, no? That's why the transition is more for color than for tempo. But there shouldn't be a slowdown there. It's already embedded in the texture with the 16th notes. No, it's too much. That there is a complete unison between your ears and your fingertips. It's like there is no gap between the two. It's like your ears are playing, or your playing is hearing. Do you hear everything you do in real time? A few minutes ago when you replayed the ending, you hit few A sharps.
Yeah.
I saw it in your face. I hate when it happens to me because it's always after it happened. So in order to prevent it from happening is the fingering that matters, right? Mm-hmm. You do 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Where is it? Where was it? So how did you get to play A sharp? Do you remember? Ha! That third finger. That's why I'm convinced that non-pianist composers are not friendly for us. When you play, regardless how it sounds, it fits under the hand like ergonomically so perfectly well. It's pleasant to even think of it. Oh, I'm going to handle it. It would have been written by a non-pianist. It would have been... And I find that typical of this. It's exactly a non-pianist writing an arpeggio. He already did a good job with this, which is so unpianistic. But the result is beautiful. I guess that's what matters. And I wanted to ask you, when you play these seconds, in order to hear the top 2 seconds repeat, can you try to jolt the wrist on the second? No, like this. Low wrist. No, low wrist on the way up. And then on the second one, you lift the wrist. And then if you can also open your wing. Yes. would have been so much practical. But the thing is that the usage of the notes in Ravel is not thematical. It's coloristic. For instance, when you hear this, it's very thematical. You don't have. And therefore here you could say, okay, I want to hear the chord. All of a sudden I hear this dissonance, which is either an appoggiatura, either a third. But together, basically it's a wrong note. Sounds like you play a wrong note.
Yeah.
But the effect of the resonance is what he searched for, and not the statement of the dominant. And so that's why we have difficulty in piano playing to, especially to repeat 4/5 up there. It's sticky, no? Yeah. It's a very small jolt of the wrist. When you will play the left-hand concerto by Ravel, and you play the cadenza, you will have so much fun applying that, because he always reaches the top of the arpeggio or the bottom of the arpeggio with the note of the next restart. And that is infuriatingly difficult on some pianos when you have to do it. But we work with what's written, and if you can use that jolt delay for the repeated note, it might re-speak within the resonance of the lifting of the key, inside the key. Well, in any case, let us applaud you, because it was remarkable. Congratulations! I'm sorry that I took out some pages. You'll have to place them back. Congratulations!
Thank you.
So, our next performer will play Ginastera, right?
Yeah.
How did you choose this masterpiece?
Let me take it back.
First of all, introduce yourself and what you'll play to the audience. Thank you. In that order? Okay.
Yeah.
Better in that order.
I'm Kyle, and I'm playing the Ginastera Danzas Criollas. And I chose the piece because another one of my teacher students played it, and it sounded pretty good, and my teacher said I should play it, so I chose it, and I'm pretty happy with the selection. So.
Is it your first Ginastera piece?
No, it's actually my second.
So you played the Danzas Argentinas before?
No.
Or the Sonata?
I played, I think it was, I'm not sure, it was a long time ago, but it's
Long time ago?
Yeah.
How old are you?
13.
Oh, it's a long time
Yeah,
ago.
I played as I think it was called Rondo or something.
I see.
Yeah, it started with Rondo, but I don't remember the rest of it. I played when I was like maybe 10 or 11.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, I'm a little fuzzy on it.
It's normal. 3 years ago is like a third of your life.
Yeah.
So, let's hear so there are 5 movements. Do you want to play them in certain order groups? Like 1 and 2, 3, and then 4 and 5, or?
Well, yeah, I'm just playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, but the audience doesn't know that.
Oh, so should I stop between each?
I think you should make a slight pause so we know we hear the next. Or actually, I'll do a gesture to let them know.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
How many of you knew this piece before you heard it today? How many of you thought, that's neat, I want to learn it? I find it to be the case too. There are pieces you hear and you go, oh, really? And then there are pieces you go, that's neat. How come I didn't know that? It's almost a completely immediate reward. It's dancey.
Yeah.
Would you say that's its main character that you like in it? Or what do you like when you play it?
Well, like, especially the last two movements are very, like, you know, fast and fiery. And
Fiery.
yeah, like,
So what is fiery?
just like powerful, but it also bounces along, like.
So dancey?
Yeah, I guess.
Do you
like,
dance?
Like a fast dance.
That's a fast dance,
Yeah.
yeah. What about the poetic slow movements?
Yeah, that's also it's like a great contrast between, you know, the faster, more powerful movements and.
But do you
yeah.
feel like you rather play the fast ones?
So like you're asking me if I like the fast ones better than the
I mean,
slow
not
ones?
that you have the choice since you have to play everything it's written.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the piece can't function without both the fast ones and the slow ones.
Wow, such a wisdom at your age.
Thank you.
The piece cannot function without all this. It is so true.
Right, because if
Sometimes when I was your age, I only wanted to play the pieces of the sections that I liked.
yeah, but if you play like everything fast or everything slow, eventually it gets boring and the audience doesn't want to hear you anymore. So.
What about to you?
Uh,
When you practice it, for instance, how do you practice the coda? Do you go with metronome under tempo? And count? Or do you just try to go on? Because it's so exciting.
well, typically I take like the hardest parts of the coda and then practice them with different speeds, starting from slow to fast.
Tempi.
What? Yeah.
Yeah, because speed is for driving.
Different tempi with from
At
slow
least
to
you
fast.
don't get a ticket if you play too fast on
Yeah.
the piano. No, it is true that I noticed that you have a great feel for the toccata style playing, like this ending.
Yeah.
Have you tried to play the octaves of this presto et energico coda
Yeah.
with the wrists rather than the
Like-
arms?
So like,
Do you find it less projecting
I
than if you do it from the arm?
think it's easier to like aim for the notes with my arms. It's like it provides more control. than
More
just, like,
precision.
Yeah. Then like because like the wrist is kind of like unreliable. It's like flapping sort of.
So, in order to organize both in one, you have to have first practice the octaves, lifting the pinky and the thumb by themselves without the arms or the hands lifting the keys. Can you try that?
So like
No, look at me. Now, no wrist, just lift the fingers after they played. Your fifth finger stays down, it should go up. Basically become a lobster. Exactly. Lift pinky and thumb. It doesn't produce energy, but it produces very brief, staccato. You can practice holding the thumb and staccato the fifth, or holding the fifth and staccato the thumb. But basically to have for the precision that you mentioned, to aim, as you said, at the notes, you aim with the fingertips. And when you use the wrist gives you the impulse energy to play them. Basically, imagine a bird landing.
Okay.
It spreads the wings and then pulls the legs and then it touches.
Okay.
So it's exactly what in slow motion your octave should do.
Oh, okay.
In other words, the finger lifting and dropping are your precision. And the wrists are like the wings of the bird.
Okay.
I know that it's way more practical to have it all from the forearm, right?
Yeah, but it gets tiring.
Stiff.
Yeah.
We get like Pinocchio arms, wooden arms. Because it lasts very long. And it's written fortissimo. That is very important to you, right?
Yeah. Like maintaining the power and the speed.
The maintaining the power and the speed. It's exactly that. Now, this piano has a lot of resonance, right? Would you say?
Yeah.
Can you try to play with less power to see how much you can project?
So like as soft as I can, or would it?
No.
Like,
Play like you play the
okay.
coda. Is that your fortissimo?
No, I can play it louder.
I know you can. The question is, that's what it's written, right?
Yeah. So.
In order to do that, you reached your max.
Well, yeah, I have to save a little bit for the end.
Exactly. And by the time you get stiff.
Yeah.
So I think that the best way to organize the lasting and the projection is to project the high sounds. You see, the piano is an instrument that has such a large range that the high notes are very resonant. They're not singing resonant, like if you want to sing. It doesn't hold as long as here. But for quick projection, it's very highlighting bright. And so you can play not loud, but bright. And this way you reserve yourself energy for the end, remember? You mentioned you needed to. What is the last bass note?
Like.
In words?
It's
D.
D. It's
not C or B
Yeah.
or E. And you come from?
Hold on.
And then? So why do you think you didn't play D earlier?
The last note.
Yeah. You usually play with the two hands, right?
Yeah, like.
Yeah. And you didn't play the D. And I'll tell you why you didn't play the D from experience. Is that you played it before you were ready to play it. You wanted to play da 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 da. So it was anything but something. If you delay it slightly, it will always play there, even in the excitement.
So.
No. I want you to do the chord, and then it's like as if you have this extra nano moment where you place your fingers on the keys and then you play. Not from high, just. Yeah. Even if you're in excitement.
Okay.
So the last chord is not for breakfast, it's during dinner. Ta 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 ta.
Oh, so that's okay.
No, it's only three notes. Three notes. Ta 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 ta. At latest, yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Good. There is the ending of the first solo of the Left Hand Concerto by Ravel, where the piano is very exposed. And that is a killer for the self-esteem. Because you've done the most difficult part before. And then finally, so you learn to aim it. And so same thing. Besides, there'll be so much resonance, it won't be a gap. Another question I have for fingering for you. On the top of this page 80, the chords in the left hand. You have a B flat D F chord, right?
Yeah. I think I missed the
five. I know you missed it because you played B natural. I heard that, but I think it's because you use 5-3-1, and I would like you to use 3-2-1. No, 3-2-1. No, 3-2-1. So it's the first chord. The fingering is self-searching target, perfect alignment of things. Did you watch the Van Cliburn?
No, not this year. I didn't catch it.
They had a aerial cam. Did you watch that on YouTube? Did you all watch any? They had the aerial cam. And they even had the score cam. But the aerial cam was amazing because you can see how close to the keys they are when they play. It almost seems like they don't even push the keys. Because to play fast and precise, you have to be having fingerings that sort of like the fingers are self-searching targets. And I think it's very interesting that when a composer chooses a certain key, like in this case D, you have this B flat and only a long finger will allow to play that thin, long black key.
Yeah.
And with 5, by itself is good, but it's not practical. I wanted to mention about number 4, the Calmo e Poetico. And then you have this. Do you know what instrument he's imitating bar 4?
Probably like a bassoon, I'm not sure.
Bassoon? No. These are the 6 strings of the guitar. Literally. So it's an imitation of a guitar played with plucked on empty strings. And the edition forgot to take off the octava, so you had to play it correctly but wrong. When 3 bars later the octava ends, and you hear it, so you have to play it also an octava lower here.
Oh, okay.
Can you play from the beginning? this is now fixed. It was not your fault, it's the publisher's fault. They forgot to interrupt the octava, as they did after, because it's the same restatement. It's imitative of guitar improvisation on the piano. At the very end of this, you have this chord. You have this arpeggio.
Yeah.
Can you play them from the bottom to the top in a row? No, you squeeze them. No. But the pedal holding. Yeah, but you delay too much the right hand. It is especially important that the thumb of the left hand and the thumb of the right hand call each other and say, hey, you pick up where I leave. Because I hear more the B of the right hand, and I hear a chord and a chord. I want to hear a flow of notes, like a bouquet of flowers.
Oh, no, there's no.
No, it's A in the right hand. No.
Wait.
It's A in the left hand and B in the right hand. That's right.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. Now the two thumbs talk to each other. And at the very last two bars, I want a single pedal. Well, I want. He wants. And then hold it. Keep holding it. Very good. Yeah. And only then you take off.
Okay.
It's one pedal for both. I want to understand in the number 3. I think it's in the notation that is confusing. Sorry. It's one single flow. And because the left hand accompaniment has this arpeggio chords, it formats your melodic line's shape. I'd rather you have your melodic line completely soaring like a bird in the sky. Without to do the ti-da-da, ti-da-da, ti, which corresponds to the bass. Rather, as if your melodic line is unrelated to your left hand. Bravo! Wow! Right away! That's very rewarding for the teacher.
Thank you.
So do you wonder why?
Because the right hand should be like its own, like, line instead of like the left hand like dominating the tempo or the beat.
Oh, exactly. I would say the pattern. Did you notice the dots of the dotted dots bar line?
Yeah. So, I guess it's like optional. Or
It's because it really corresponds to the left hand. dancey part, and this is the singing part. So in Spanish, canta and baila. Baila is dance. That's ballet comes from that word. And canta is sing. So you have a singing. So they have the singing. And the patterns of the chords are more the dancing at the same time. But they don't match. That would be more aligned, you know. Good, good. For the very last F sharp of this, you should play it on the edge of the key. So you see my finger? It's like stiff, stick on the edge. Yes.
Okay.
Because if you play it in the middle, the action and the heavy sound will make it too loud. You want to hear really, really, and not.
Okay.
They don't indicate where you place the finger in the score. Number 2, my God, this must be your favorite.
Actually, I like number 6. I like the last ones better.
Already.
Yeah.
So this is your second best?
No,
I think it's so fun. It's like, Mom, I'm playing all the keys. I don't have to play the right notes. I just play all the notes. Imagine if you can do that in Mozart. Because it's like, and everybody sounds, oh, wonderful, imagine. So obviously the problem with these clusters is the voicing, right? Do you know what it's written? Con la palma de la mano?
Yeah, with the palm of the hand.
Yeah. But you have to have a big hand, no?
It's just an octave, right? So it's just all the white keys between the...
You said the right answer. It's an octave. Can we hear it with the left hand with only octaves in the right hand?
So like...
Yes.
Okay.
And now when you play the feeling, still bring out the octave more than the feeling. So how do we know that the right hand plays before the beat? Because we have it on the score.
Yeah.
But what about them in the audience?
I don't know. They don't know.
Well, obviously. Of course, presumably they know the piece compared to this, but nevertheless, it's important that this offbeat or before the beat right hand is contrasted with accents of the left hand on the downbeat. So we hear the bass, the left hand, very sharply on the beat of an accent. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, ti, ta, ti, ti. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, I see. For the very opening, I want you to play the right hand, the D, more than everything else. One day you'll play Messiaen, you'll see that works like that. clusters of chords with a non-changing melodic note. It's like variations on D. So bring out the top D and play less the other ones. That's very nice. But what can make it easier is to play everything else in the left hand but the D.
So
Like this. So you wonder, why didn't Ginastera write it like that, right? And gives you the main note in the pinky, the weakest finger. Can you try to play like that?
okay, so
Yes.
it's very awkward.
Yeah, but more effective if you want to voice. Of course, it's confusing when you're not used to it.
Yeah.
But I think that's why I wrote the solution to, I put the, the left hand here, like, and this way. I hear the D. Of course, you can hear the D also with the pinky. Very often in this clustered texture, very rarely do we have indications what to bring out. Because you could also argue, why not bring it out?
Because the D is like it's the top note and it's the most important note.
Well, you have decades ahead of you to experience different ways. Be aware when you do the melody. If I sing this song and want to sing, I don't do the sound and this and there. So in your head, you don't hear it dropping, but it decays. So you have to make sure that you play louder the first impact of the longer value and pick up softly. So that you pick it where it decayed in order to give the illusion that you have a complete long-lasting resonance in the way you connect the words or the sentence. Especially this. Because the E is too loud because the D decayed. But you didn't hear it decay. Because in your ear, it's a vibrato. How silly of me. So the system is to play louder the value that will be longest decaying and pick up softly the next first note at the level of its decay. Of course, it depends, of course, of the resonance and the acoustics, but generally it's something that helps the singing on the piano. Well, that was a great joy. Let's have an applause for you. Now to them. You didn't do the bowing at the end. You didn't bow. bowing. Why don't you come to warm up about the barque sur l'océan? Don't you want to warm up?
Can I?
That's what I offer.
Thank you.
Because it's very nervous making to start playing after sitting for so long, no?
Yeah.
When did you start it?
I started it around this time last year. Yeah.
So you've worked on it for a long time.
Yeah. I really love it, so I've kept it for a while. And I probably will continue to play it next year.
Can you?
That's the next one I want.
Why did you choose it? Because it reminds you of something that you like?
I think I kind of saw like a progression through Ravel. I started with, and then I did, and then I thought, now I'm doing water, so I'll do Jeux, then une barque, and it'll just.
So you're avoiding the only unplayable.
Yeah.
I remember asking him, what did you want to do in this piece? Because it always sounds like the pianist is confused.
Yeah.
You start the piece and it's like the two hands don't play the same piece. Have you heard it played well?
I have, yeah. I heard it in Clyburn.
The Nocturne,
Oui, yeah.
the first one. And I noticed that you demonstrated the Les Cloches with 3-5-2-4.
Is there another way?
2-5-1-4. Or even 1-3. If you don't like 5-4 in a row. Meaning 2-5-1-3.
Yeah.
Are you very comfortable with 4-5? That's good. Most people don't like to play 4-5 in a row. And here you do what? 3-2-1-4? Oh, 3.
Yeah.
And you do it like you hold it and you only play that, or you replay the third.
I think I focus on the trope, that part at the top, and then
Because
sometimes.
the thumb doesn't always replay, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like a rattle.
Yeah.
And then my most dreaded section is this.
Oh. Yeah.
Do you do arrangements like,
No, I just play it with one hand.
and so you have to jump from 1 to 5. That's typical again of a non-pianist composer. I mean, it's not that he wasn't a pianist, but he was not a performer pianist. So the patterns are awkward.
Yeah.
I think that the notation is 2 tied to 3. And
Yeah.
then 3.
Yeah, I've never really done that. Like that. Hold the.
I see. age, I have come to the conclusion that it's better to think it as a quintuplet rather than 2 and 3. Like 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Rather 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4.
I'm trying to feel it in twos, like 1 and 2.
You see it exactly, because that's how it's written. That's the notation.
Yeah.
And it's a big problem between the intent and the realization.
Yeah. I've worked on that part a lot. I've like switched it around a little bit. But I've found that it gets a really nice like momentum if you keep it in 2.
I am on the conviction that the intention in the composer is not always translated in the notation of the composer.
What do you think
Shall
he
we?
intended?
Oh, sorry. Let yourself introduce yourself and the piece.
Hi, my name is Sam, and I'll be playing another piece by Ravel. It's called Une barque sur l'océan.
Which means
A boat on the ocean.
a very small boat on a very big ocean. It's not really the Titanic. Thank you. Because in French, the word bateau is more that. Barque is like a very small boat. So that's why when you have those powerful winds and waves, you feel not very comfortable even to play. So is that a new piece? You said you practiced it for some time?
Yeah, I've been playing it for about a year.
Are you sick of it?
No. No.
A year and not sick of it.
Yeah.
Wow, this is another example to follow. Congratulations. Is it because it reveals itself every time differently?
Yeah, I would say so. I find new things every time I have to relearn it for something.
What about when you play it on different pianos?
Definitely, yeah. Presents, yeah, different.
On this one, you'll see it's made for it. You tried it earlier, right?
Yes.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good, but I only hear the resonance. I don't hear the individual. I think you need to be a little bit pumping the pedal. Yes, more. Don't be afraid to lose a little bit of the resonance of this when you're here.
Okay.
Because if not, it becomes either very much static and it loses that wavy drop, rise and drop. I always call this the kissing chord, where the minor second overlaps the two hands. He could have avoided it in so many ways, but it seems to be that he goes from the seventh to the second. And so I think when he reaches the high part of the left hand, and the right hand is overlapping or locking it, I don't want to hear this still resonating.
Okay.
I want it to be evaporating and then replaying as if it's thinning and rising and dropping. And by changing the pedal, you hear the articulation of the note do mi la do mi la mi do la mi do fa. Can you continuously search to hear the articulation of the individual 32nd? Yes, exactly. Let the resonance disappear. Yes. Who wrote oboe?
I did.
Really?
Yeah.
And is that how sharp you want it to be heard?
I feel like oboe would just cut through, which
Yes.
is what I want. Yeah.
Cut through the harp.
Yeah.
Ah. So what would be an alternative instrument that cuts less through? Interesting choice.
Yeah, clarinet maybe?
Yeah. Flute would blend.
Yeah.
Voice? In fact, every time you hear Ravel's orchestrations of his pieces, you're bedazzled and bored. I think the piano is so much more evocative than demonstrative of the colors of the orchestra. There is one thing I miss in Ravel's orchestrations of his piano pieces is the pedaling. Have you heard his orchestrations of his piano pieces?
I think that's where I got oboe from. Yeah.
In his orchestration of Mussorgsky's pictures, he uses the saxophone for the melody of the old castle. And that was at the time a first in a symphonic orchestra. But on the piano, I really think it's nothing better than whatever you can imagine. It's atmospheric, and therefore I'm not convinced that it has to be brought up so piercing out right away. I would let it sort of blend in. Then the second entrance a little sharper. And finally the third entrance going to the E. In other words, not at once so piercing.
Okay.
And then progressively more out.
I think I was trying to do more on the first time, less, and then even less. Something like that.
You have a lifelong opportunity ahead of you to try so many ways. And each has its own advantages and disadvantages according to what you think. I observed also very interestingly what you do in this page. I found that this is easier to play when you're thin.
How so? Oh.
There's a belly on the way. And I find it especially so at the crossing moment. So you're perfectly lean for it. Can you bring us the left-hand thumb out, please?
For the whole page?
Yes! But not so poorly played. That is so well practiced. All these arpeggios. The problem is that the high note is not heard because we, the pianists, we rise the arpeggio crescendo with pedal. And so by the time we have the high note, it's already underwater.
Okay.
I would not make a crescendo in the arpeggio all the way up. And I want to hear this exactly point. And therefore, in order to do that, the arpeggios cannot have like a crescendo. If not, I hear the left hand, and the right hand I hear chords, but it's not what. I mean, it's clearly complicated because of the decay of the high notes. I mean, he wrote it, so we have to play it. There's one thing you don't want to bring out, is that just like for Scarbo, he forgot he wrote it in the wrong key. Somebody should have reminded him the piano ends on A. And so when he writes this, and I noticed that you were ashamed of him, you were like, I'm not gonna bring out that he wrote. It bothers you, right? Sounds like a wrong note.
It bothered me when I was learning it because I was like, there are no more notes.
Exactly, except on Bösendorfer Imperial, which he didn't have. All he get to do is write it one step higher. Man, these composers, you know. And he does the same in Escarbo in the beginning. With the... But at least there it's spooky. Here it's not spooky, just a wrong note. Like, could somebody tune that note? So some pianists retune the low A to G sharp before they play the piece.
Really?
Which sort of tricks the listener. I mean, you don't play very often that note in the piece anyway. But I noticed that you try to avoid to bring it out, right? So I wrote A+, which sounds like I gave you a good grade, but it meant A more. I think it has to sound like it's something weird. It's written in big, absolutely nothing. What do you think it should be?
What do you mean?
Softer than soft?
I
Meaning
think so.
Nothing, meaning no hairpin? What is the nothing?
I think not for the whole section. I think I wanted to...
It's your writing.
Yeah. I think I wanted to start with like... and then get less. So maybe start a little more than nothing and then get
I didn't know if
software.
nothing meant no expressive hairpin. That's what I thought.
No, I meant like volume.
Hmm. Hmm. There is a D sharp at the very end of this section that I would like you to bring out. Just like at the end of her piece. This little passing tone that he had. Can we hear it? In fact, you don't connect it.
Yeah.
You play, and then I would like it to be ta da 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 dee. Oh, there is another thing I wanted to tell you. When you play the big wave, and then you go down, in the diminuendo you do ritenuto.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, well, I meant I was doing it. I don't want to do it.
So please do what you don't want.
It's just like, once you get down here, he writes like a million notes in one beat, and it's kind of
Exactly. How many? A million in
yeah.
one beat.
Yeah.
That's like Rack 3. So these composers don't know how to calculate their notes. No, what I think it's important is that you maintain the flow regardless how many beats. I don't want to hear a build-up of accelerando. And then I don't want it to slow down the pace. About the very ending. I have one conception about that last page after the top line, is that it's literally without rubato till the end.
Okay.
Basically like this. Even the last notation with the two wiggles, I equalize it to sound like the 30 seconds. One and two and. Now, why this accelerando? That's what I suggest. Is because they're 64ths versus 30 seconds, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, I prefer to equalize it.
So you wouldn't think they're grace notes?
Well, they're grace notes in 64ths.
Okay.
When they're here in 30 seconds, not grace notes. So I find it too dramatic to have a I mean, I've played through so many versions, and it came to my understanding that after you have been through so many waves in the piece, at the end you want it to be just mirror lake surface. It's just my personal taste. I don't want to hear that 64ths. I like that very much, especially the ending, because you wonder if he wanted tightly because he wrote the wiggle rather than the grace notes. But for me, it's the same one. It's grace notes to the end. And even if it's not what he wanted, it's really, it's a great piece where it's placed in the cycle of the 5 movements. And so when you know what's coming up, it's nice to have a last page that just remains very neutral and stable before the... And I find that the last one is the hardest to play last. Because it doesn't feel like a last one. But I don't think the order of them was really important to him, because originally Eschik published them separate. So they're not always played all the 5 and not always in that order. But nevertheless, nobody wants to play the first. Like, okay, it's so confusing. What's going on? And every time you want to bring clarity to it, it becomes impossibly unnoticeable. Seems like playing a Scarlatti sonata bitonal. But it is coloristic, and it's very difficult to start it, as well as difficult to finish with the other one. I would have never started the cycle with this. It's a bit like yesterday when I started in the recital before the people were ready to listen. But it's easy when the piece is loud octaves. But this is what I do when I play this piece. I arrive, people are still, and I go. Because it's so liberating to be in it and not to have to start it.
Yeah.
Because it makes no sense. But it is beautiful that you're so young playing such a subtle, sophisticated, and complex music. Thank you very much.
Thank you.